Very pleased to meet you.
It's John Merrick.
You swear that all the time, Charles. You're too kind.
God, you have to introduce it.
I introduced it last time.
No, you didn't. I assassin you did.
I did, because you wouldn't do it.
I did it because you.
Do you want me to replay it? Do you want me to replay it? I've got it here.
I'll do it.
Hello. Welcome to the Venture Movie Club. I'm so pleased you joined us. In this episode, we are talking about Driving Miss Daisy.
We're talking about The Elephant Man from 1980. I'm pointing at the DVD, not you, Matt.
No, I was it, sir.
I'm Charlie.
I'm Matthew.
I'm Ben.
And today we are joined by Matthew. There is some sort of format. Who is a thespian, an outed thespian.
100% that's me.
When did you realise you was a thespian?
Well...
Is that what the T is for in LGBT?
It is 100%. That's it. It's for the other side of me. I probably realised it at a fairly young age. I was in senior school. In fact, I did very, very well in senior school in drama. And then later on, I went into doing bits and pieces and some acting later on in life after a career as a chef. But if I'm honest, then if you listen to my mother, she would say I've been an actor since I was 5 years old. And basically, I fell in love with stage, film. Always been a massive fan of all different types of movies. Just the raw passion you see in some of the actors, it really shines through in the characters they play. And
you played, one of them was Treves, isn't it?
Yeah, I played Frederick Treves, Sir Frederick Treves, in a stage adaptation of The Elephant Man. I played it actually at the same time that Bradley Cooper was playing The Elephant Man in on Broadway as well, and he got rave reviews for that as well.
Did you?
Yeah, we got very good reviews for our performance.
I see you. I can see it.
Yeah, you did. Yeah,
I didn't know about that.
No, yeah, it was quite a long while ago.
Yeah, that about 6 years ago, was it? Something like that. 6
or 7 years ago. Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember it was really good. And even though, like, you think Elephant Man, you think John Hurt, it's really the part you played, that Anthony Hopkins played, which has got the heavier sort of lifting. You've got more of the dialogue, haven't you? And
yeah, there is. I mean, with obviously The Elephant Man, it is slightly overlooked, the role of Frederick Treves, but because obviously the focus was mainly on John Hurt, but both performances are stellar performances, and I think all of the actors in that particular film it was very incredibly well casted, because they're all very, very good in that film. There's no one.
I think so.
Yes, I think
nice.
I think he was very, very good.
I watched it the other day. Me and my mum watched it the other day for this, and God, just get it all the way through. It's so sad. Some parts of it, but you feel.
How much of it is actually true though?
Quite a lot of it.
It's quite a lot of it is actually quite true. Because I know when they say that it's based on a true story, sometimes it's sort of 5% of it.
One of the things that they do in the film, because they call him John Merrick.
His name was Joe, wasn't it?
His name was Joseph. Yeah. However, Treves actually put in the film is based off of his writings,
of his memoirs,
of his memoirs, and in his memoirs,
so quite apt then, really.
Yeah, and in his memoirs, he did refer to him as John.
Yeah.
So even though his name was Joseph Merrick, his mates knew him as John anyway.
Yeah.
If that's the only thing that's changed in it, then that's
no. I mean, obviously there would be some sort of indulgence, like his mum wasn't trampled by an elephant. Yeah. But that was a story that he was told himself when he was a young boy, so he would have believed that to be true.
Yeah, that's how he was sold as a circus freak, as the story, wasn't it? As the background to him being in that condition, when it was nothing to do with obviously his mother being trampled by an elephant.
Although my mum thought the elephant was raping her. I was like, is the elephant meant to be raping her? Oh no, Mum, it's not raping her.
No. It's quite a true adaptation of the story, because obviously it was taken from Frederick Treves' memoirs, Although like you say, there is a few bits of flowery here and there, but the main storyline all the way through is very true. The film itself, I mean, I love the sort of the fact that it's filmed in black and white.
Yeah, why is it black
phenomenal.
and white? Yeah, I love it. It works, but is there a reason why it was black and white in 1980?
Well, it's artistic as well, but also it sort of makes it look more of a period piece.
It seems a lot older because I suppose it seems like it's from the 50s or something, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's real.
It's got a feel of that 50s, 60s.
And it was also the director, because the director was David Lynch.
Yes, he was.
Just died.
Yeah, he's just died. Yeah.
I think it might have been his second film, but
it's a big risk though doing a black and white film, especially like these many years after like black and white sort of stopped.
Well,
it's very rarely.
They still do it now.
Yeah, once in a while, but it's very rare.
It's upside down. But I think that the very start of the film, like when you say about the elephant being the way it's shot and the overlays of images. You don't see that. You used to see it in a lot of films a long time ago, but you don't see that as much these days. But it had a very sort of, and especially with the score, the music score, it just the overlay at the beginning is phenomenal. It really it gives you an air of mystery, an air of shock.
He's a very stylized director anyway. David Lynch.
Yeah, definitely.
He's most famous for making Twin Peaks, I guess.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah,
that was an American thing, wasn't it?
That was huge. Yeah, it was huge.
And Mulholland Drive is probably his biggest film. He died 16th of January this year, aged 78 of emphysema.
Oh, did he really? Oh, wow.
Let me tell you who's in the film, Ben, just to jog your memory.
Okay.
Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah.
You know him. Silence of the Lambs, Dracula. John Hurt.
Yeah.
Who's, of course, Alien, Watership Down, Nixon.
He's in Partners as well, isn't he, John Hurt?
Yeah. He's now actually seen in the film for 30 minutes and doesn't speak until 45 minutes into the film.
No, that's right. Yeah.
Because he keeps trying to get him to talk, doesn't he? You've also got Freddie Jones, who was in Black Cauldron, Kroll, Dune. His son Toby Jones played Alfred Hitchcock in The Girl, and Anthony Hopkins played Alfred Hitchcock.
That's right. Yeah.
You got Anne Bancroft.
Yeah, phenomenal.
Who's in The Graduate and The Assassin, we said before.
Yeah.
John Gielgud, who's in Arthur, Shine, Chariots of Fire.
Yeah.
Michael Elphick.
Yeah.
Boone.
Yeah, Ken Boone.
Because he's the scumbag.
In EastEnders.
Yeah.
But he's a scumbag in this as well, isn't he? Because he's like, hey, you want to come see the Elephant Man?
And
give us talents.
Yeah. He's his dad in Quadrophenia.
Yes, that's right.
That's right.
Yeah.
He's Jimmy's dad.
I think he plays a very good part in the Elephant Man.
Oh yeah.
Because when you see him in when he's Ken Boone, and he plays a good
villain. Really.
Villain, yeah. I think
it was only a few years after this Boone. Was it 80s? Wasn't it, Boone?
Well, this was 1980. Yeah,
that was 80, and before Quadrophenia, I think it was 78. So the Quadrophenia would have been before. So this is probably Boone, maybe a couple of years after.
Yeah,
in between the Quadrophenia.
But he's
and
a
Boone.
pivotal character in this because obviously it's him sort of torturing the Elephant Man, for his own amusement. That leads him to sort of then get kidnapped by his original owner.
Yeah.
You know who else is in it, Ben?
Oh,
Dexter Fletcher.
Bugsy Malone.
Bugsy, because he's still a little boy in this.
Babyface.
Yeah,
he's basically like he's the guy, the circus show freak owner, the one who owns the Elephant Man at the beginning. He's like his little ward, his little sidekick.
Yeah.
He tries to help the Elephant Man. He helps him escape when he's in France.
What was it? Where was he more known for? Surely it ain't just Bugsy Malone are known from.
Advertising.
He was on.
No, stop.
He was in a thing called Press Gang. He was in that. He was in Press Gang, I think.
And he's a big director now as well, isn't he?
Yeah.
Wasn't there another film that he done that was a really big film, or was it just Bugsy Malone?
Elephant Man. We're talking about him there.
Yeah.
The
boy plays a very pivotal role in the Elephant.
Yeah. Oh no,
especially in the film, not so much the stage adaptations, because obviously he points out quite the fact that the abuse that he's suffering on a day-to-day basis, and obviously when he does get kidnapped, like and taken to France, he's an instigator of his release as such, or he's being shipped out.
Freaks,
and that's actually, as far as I'm aware, that's a fairly accurate depiction.
Yeah. You've also got in it small parts. Leslie Dunlop.
I know the name.
Emmerdale. She plays Brenda in Emmerdale.
Right, okay.
Leslie Dunlop. Oh,
Who does she play in the
I think it's
film?
someone else.
Well, this is why I wanted you to watch the film, because you would have gone, because like Mum was watching, oh, that's her, out of Emmerdale.
Yeah, I've never really watched
Leslie
Emmerdale.
Dunlop. I can't think of who that is.
I'm not an Emmerdale fan.
No.
To be honest.
I thought it was. I thought Lindsay. I'm thinking Lindsay Duncan. I think from Grown Ups.
Oh, right. Kenny Baker's like one of the dogs. He, of course, was R2D2.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I'll tell you who else is in it, Ben, but it's mainly just her photo. Elephant Man's mum, her photo, he shows about her. Look at my mummy.
She was so beautiful.
Oh, she's so beautiful.
I
I must have been such a disappointment. No. Phoebe Nichols.
Phoebe Nichols.
Party.
Oh, she's the one that. She's the copper woman.
Rebecca.
That's it. Yeah.
That's her photo.
Oh, is it her?
And because I hadn't seen the film for so long, I looked and thought, Ben's going to watch this and go, I know who that is.
Yeah, I know. I recognise it.
He would have done if he'd watched it.
This was the same time as Party. So Party was 1980, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's about that time.
79, 80.
Yeah.
So this would have been when she was like, she looked like Rebecca.
And I'll tell you someone else who's in it, Ben, who's been in the news lately. Pauline Quirk.
That's right. Yeah.
She plays second whore.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
She's one of the ones.
She's got dementia now.
Yeah.
Oh, is she really?
Yeah, she's got dementia,
that's terrible.
Yeah.
But in this, she's like when Michael Elphick's getting all the people in there to have a look.
Yeah.
She's one of the whores with this old bloke. He's kissing her. She's so young. I didn't recognise.
Oh, it's ridiculously young, isn't it? Yeah.
She's been acting for years though, because she has Pauline's Quirks, which was I think a comedy sketch show.
Yeah.
And that's how and then she was in Shine on Harvey Moon. Do you remember Shine on Harvey Moon? She was in that. She had a patch on her eye. I think she had a glass with a patch on her eye.
Yeah, she's
a good actress.
She looks so young in it. She really looks so young.
She does.
Yeah.
I've seen it. As I say, I've seen it. I didn't watch it the other day, but I've seen this film recently. I've seen this film.
And to be fair, she plays a very good part in that. To be honest, because she gets she's trying to she's going to be taken home, one of two, by an elderly, obviously a Tom, or as they say, and basically by the time she gets there, obviously she's had a few drinks, and they're initially horrified by the sight of the Elephant Man, but she gets caught up in the whole situation and ends up like it's slightly, she comes across as
the guy who's with it, that's sort of like his chat up move, as it were.
Yeah.
Scare them. Yeah. Same thing as like blokes taking girls to like horror films, because you show them something that's so horrifying.
Yeah,
gets their heart racing, and
that's it.
Take advantage of it.
But she plays the part really, really well. She's like excited but horrified at the same time, and very, very does very, very well in that.
Yeah, no,
it's got quite a lot of people that you'd recognise. You'd look and you go, I know him from somewhere. I know her from somewhere.
Oh, it's a stellar cast. It really is.
Yeah.
It's,
and like you said with the Scott, well, I'll get to the ending as well.
Oh, don't bring that up yet.
The ending's very.
I don't want to start crying.
The ending's very sad.
But I think I see that as a happy ending. Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah,
but because he's just had the greatest night of his life.
Yeah.
He's gone to the theatre.
Yeah.
Everyone in there stood up and applauded him and made him feel like he's part of the upper class, that he's actually adored. And he looks at the picture, and it's the one thing he's never been able to do is lay down.
Yeah.
So he takes his pillows, knowing it's going to kill him, lays down.
Yeah, but so that might be slightly skewed from the truth when it comes to actually what happened to him, because he was actually diagnosed. It was an accidental death. So they know
that if he took his pillow away, he would have known that.
But he could have moved around. He could have done. Do you know what I mean?
He broke his neck.
He broke. Well, the official was asphyxiation. So he got suffocated, whether through his neck breaking eventually, because obviously the weight of his head was huge, or it was just by the act of laying backwards and cutting off his.
So you don't think it was by accident then?
I think it was on purpose.
You think it was on purpose?
I romanticize it. Like how the film portrays it, it was sort of like him thinking,
I've had such a lovely night, I want it to end now.
We'll never get this
We'll never get as good as
because he started having a good life thanks to Treves.
Yeah.
Then it was taken away from him as he's sort of that bloke comes back, takes him again, takes him out to Paris, beats him, and he collapses in front of the audience and everything. manages to get back where he's chased, and of course the bit where he goes, "I'm not an animal."
Yeah. He gets chased by the general public, don't they? Yeah. But I think that so I would. I mean, as far as where it contradicts some of the known facts and etc. is like obviously the beginning. I mean, the beginning, the whole circus and things like that, it was actually quite true. He was actually on show in a small shop opposite the London hospital. It wasn't a big fairground situation, etc. But he was eventually moved on because obviously people were becoming so shocked by seeing such a sight.
Yeah.
And not only that, he was not kept. He wasn't washed. And there was no hygiene for him. And the condition he had with multiple tumours, it's like basically he had rotting flesh on the outside of his body, untreated. The smell would have been disgusting. Days as well. Exactly. It would have been absolutely foul. So people going to see him would have gone, first of all, get hit by a smell in a dark, dingy environment, and have just been told by what's his name, Bytes? Is it what's the
I think
it's or Baines or something like that is. And by his introduction as the Elephant Man, being the Elephant Man, and the reasons why, etc., it builds up the tension. So when you see that kind of disfigurement, it would have been even magnified in them conditions. And I think in the film it's portrayed very well. The way he literally, as soon as you see him, because you don't see him really properly at all, you see him in shadow, or then when eventually he takes him to the hospital, you see a silhouette of him. You don't actually see him until later on in a real, the light of day, so to speak.
Right, when the nurse comes in to give him the
soup.
Do you know what year he died?
Roughly. I know he was 27. Was it?
Been 18.
1880 something, wasn't it? Something like that, I think. Yeah.
You know why I think it's 1888?
Why is that?
Because that's the same time that Jack the Ripper stopped killing people.
Oh, really? So it was him. There you go. Oh,
we see. When I was younger, you said you've seen the Elephant Man's bones as well. Was that through Uncle Alan as well?
No. So basically, I saw them because when I was asked to play the role of Frederick Treves, I wanted to know more. And
so this is recent. You've seen them?
So no, it was about
a few years ago.
But I saw a replica skeleton because the real bones are in the archives.
Yeah, but that's, when I was younger, it was in the London hospital when I was a kid. When I was about 6 or 7. Uncle Alan knew a doctor that they could take you to a place that only doctors were allowed to go to.
Oh, wow.
He said, he goes, "Do you want to see the Elephant Man bones?" Dad said to us, and I went, "Yeah, go on then." Like I was only a kid. And I remember seeing in a glass case there was his skeleton, but there was also in there was like a baby with 2 heads in a jar, pickled. It was like really weird. It was like an unusual thing for a child to see, but then I always like horror films and stuff.
That's probably why.
That's probably what got me into horror films. But I remember seeing his actual bones.
Michael Jackson wants to buy them, didn't he?
Yeah,
that is actually a myth. He never wanted to buy them. That was just
I don't believe anything.
A publicity stunt.
Exactly. It's all just.
So then, how comes he's dancing with them in that video?
Because that's
the public say that because it's taking the piss out of everything that's said about him.
But they're really interesting. At the London Hospital, there's a small museum dedicated to the London Hospital, and a large proportion of it is about the Elephant Man, and they've got some of his artifacts in there, as well as obviously a replica of the skeleton. They've got some of Frederick Treves' items in there. It's fantastic. But that's where I saw them, because when obviously the director asked me to do it, I decided that, well, perhaps we should go and see something, or look into it more. So we took a day trip up there, and it was really, really nice and very eye opening. To be honest,
I didn't appreciate it being that young.
Yeah,
I would have appreciated a lot more being older and knowing the story. But at the time, it was just I couldn't. Yeah, it was just I couldn't take it in to exactly what it was.
It's
been. I must have been about 7.
Do you remember when you first saw the film?
Probably when it came out. I would have thought
1980.
Yeah, because I used to watch films. There was no such thing as ages and all that. I could watch anything I wanted to.
No, exactly. Yeah, I watched it when it was first out, and I didn't really appreciate it as much. It was a good film. I thought it was a good film.
Because we
Quite
were
sad.
kids at the time as well, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? At that age, at 1980, you know, like I was 6, he was 5.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
So it's like, you know, you're not going to appreciate a
Yeah,
film
see,
like
I
that,
know-
especially black and white
yeah.
at that age.
I know the exact date that I first saw the film.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah.
How come?
It was September 11th, 2001.
Oh,
That's a good favour.
oh, wow.
Yes. And this is how I remembered it, because obviously that had happened,
Yeah.
the September 11th, and Caroline was working in Blockbuster at the time, and we was just talking, like, going, oh God, what's going to happen next? Are they going to crash into Canary Wharf?
Yeah.
And we was like, let's distract ourselves, let's watch a film. And I picked Elephant Man, and we went up and watched Elephant Man, and it was quite cathartic, because you're watching this film,
Yeah.
there's so much pressure, and then watching that film, it's so sort of sad and happy, and we just wept, and we was like, oh, beautiful, what a beautiful film.
Yeah, because
It is a lovely film.
with that film, though, when you look at that film, a lot of the focus of sadness is on Joseph Merrick because of his situation. But a lot of people don't see or don't reflect on the sadness that was brought to the film by Frederick Treves and Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah.
Because obviously, what happened he suffered. Frederick Treves suffered with this all his life, and he went on to have an amazing career after John Merrick passed away. I mean, he performed like not pioneered, but he introduced appendectomies, where appendicitis operations and things like that, which were pretty much unknown, and it was killing loads and loads of people. And he brought that to the forefront because he was predominantly when he first started out, he was an abdominal sort of expert, really, more than anything else. But he obviously broadened. But he suffered massively with the one thing, and they do brush on it in the film, the guilt of has he become the same as his old master?
And he says in it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, just to refresh you, Ben, and anyone who hasn't seen it for ages, because obviously he saves John Merrick from the freak show, manages to keep him at the hospital thanks to the Princess of Wales, who writes a letter, says thank you so much for looking after him, and they decide we can live here forever. But then he starts introducing him to all the well-to-do society, all these people who want to go see him. And
it's the same sort of thing.
You can see they're uncomfortable around him.
Yeah.
They're not comfortable. And then the nurse pulls him up and says, you're just as bad as him. You're the same. You're using him like a freak show for your own profit. And that's when he stops doing that. He goes, I've just turned into him. I'm doing it for my own sort of further my career.
One of the greatest scenes in that is when obviously Mrs. Kendall, the actress, goes to see him as well. But after that, post that, obviously everyone that is well-to-do is going to end up trying to go to see him. And just a really sad, poignant moment is when he's pouring tea for a couple. And she's shaking at his sheer appearance. And it's what he says. And they said, talking about going out to doing this. And he said, well, I don't go out that much. He says, because obviously some people don't know how to deal with my appearance. So he was so self-aware, although in the film they show him,
But yeah, when he's pouring the tea, he goes, oh, are you chilly? Are you cold?
Yeah, because she's shaking. Shaking. But to be that aware, I mean, when you see it in the film, and he says about him at the very beginning, before he starts really speaking, that he's a moron. And then Anthony Hopkins says it because his colleague is standing there watching him leave in the carriage. And he says to him, he said, oh, is it physical or mental? He said, oh, he's a complete moron. And then it's perfectly paused as well by Anthony Hopkins. So he pauses and then turns around and says, well, I hope he is. Basically, he's like, I hope.
Because of the lot he's given you.
He
doesn't understand.
But in actual fact, he was so intelligent.
But it's great the way they reveal in the film, because Anthony Hopkins has been coaching him. I like saying, like, you say, I'm very pleased to meet you. So he meets with the head of the hospital and he goes, okay. And you can see he's talking to him. He runs out of things to say almost.
Yeah.
So, I'm very pleased to
he says the same thing and asks him a different question.
He starts reciting a passage from the Bible. And they're standing in the hallway and Anthony Hopkins goes, hold on a sec, listen. I never taught him that. No, I never taught him. So then they go back in and he says, I've always read the Bible. He said, and that's what he says. He goes, yes, I'm quite well versed in the common law, common Bible.
And he goes on, he does psalms, he does like different things.
Yeah.
And that's when obviously the governor of the hospital turns around and just says immediately, well, I hope to see you again. He said, can I speak to you in the office afterwards, Mr. Treves? And it's at that point when he goes into the office, that's the big reflection on how his physical issues and his mental state, how hard it would have been to be that clever, that socially aware, and that aware of your disabilities as well. And as a day-to-day struggle, when people look at you, it's difficult. If you have got something wrong with you, you the focus, it's people. Some people look at people because they're curious. Other people look in a demeaning way. Other people look for just, as if they're better than you. And I've seen that firsthand because my friend's son's disabled and he's very physically and partially mentally disabled. So when you take him out in the chair, it's visible. It's very visible that he's quite disabled. And when you're walking along with him, you see the way people look at him. So when you're faced with that and you see it, but you're not the target, you can see the target. But fortunately, he's not that aware of it. Yeah. But you are. And I spoke to his father. He's one of my best friends. I was best man at his wedding, and he turns around and he said, "You get used to it." But I've all the years that I've been going out with him, I can never get used to it. It's so difficult. But for him to see the way people stare at him,
so blatant with it as well, isn't they? But it's like they don't even try and subtly do it. They look and it's I guess
the worst blatantly. The worst would be children themselves, because children don't have the filter.
Yeah. So no, but children are a lot more innocent. Yeah. So their expressions when they do look, they're just trying to work it out. They're curious. That's 100% curiosity.
From a place of like of badness in any way.
No. And that's when my friend's son. This is when I was watching this the other day. It made me think of this same situation, because obviously he's not really that aware of what they're looking at and how they're looking at him. Yeah. But Frederick Treves was. Joseph Merrick was. He was 100% aware of it. And, he used to have hundreds of people a day come to just ogle at him. Yeah.
And also his physical state. His appearance and so it's So
obviously, I mean, the film was obviously, it's a very sort of serious matter. It's very tactfully done. But do you know...
Has it ever been remade?
No. But do you know who one of the producers was? Who deliberately kept his name off of the posters so they didn't think it was something else? Mel Brooks.
Was it really?
Yeah, Mel Brooks.
Thought it was a comedy otherwise, wasn't
they? Yeah, he's an executive producer on it, but he was the one who was trying to get the film made. And he realised, if I put my name on it, everyone's going to go there waiting to laugh.
It's a comedy.
And it's not going to, they're not going to laugh at all.
Yeah.
Where is the Elephant Man's bones now then?
It's in here.
Yeah. It's behind me.
No, it's still in.
It's still in London Hospital. Yeah. But they're in the archives. But like I say, there is.
Like you can't just get and see it.
And when you see it though, because obviously his left arm was fine.
Yeah.
His left arm and his genitalia were all intact. The rest of him, it wasn't just external issues; it was bone deformity as well. I mean, when you look at his
skull, I remember the skull being very abnormally shaped.
Yeah, it's huge. But his right arm, when you look at his right arm, it's more like a flipper. It's the two bones in the forearm are incredibly wide, and it's just it's a must see. It's very humbling as well.
What do they do? Do you know how they handle this now? If a child is born that way, is there things they do to lessen it?
I think there is some medications for it to ease it, but I still don't think there's a cure for it. Yeah. But the tumour sides, they could have prevented and removed some of it if it was caught early enough. So it would be more the bone deformities than anything else.
They know before they was born, they can do tests, can't they, do you reckon?
Yeah, I would assume that. So.
Like they can do tests to sort of see certain things. Maybe it might be a hereditary thing that they might test people for certain things. I don't know.
Yeah. The film itself, though, I just think is fantastic.
Sad.
Film. It's sad. But as I said, I take hope from it, because there are loads of happy moments. There's loads of bits you think, yes, he's won that time, or like the bit where where they're deciding whether he should stay in the hospital.
Yeah,
and his little matchbook the things that he makes out, the little matches.
He makes the cathedral, the spire. But when he's deciding, and you got that guy going, "No, I'm moved. He should not be here. This is for the sick people." And with that, you got the princess comes in and says, "The Queen wants to thank you for being so kind."
Yeah, to someone.
So at that point, you think, yes, and then, as it all builds up, you think, "Oh, he's got to France." But knowing the film, watching the second time, I know he's going to get back safely.
Yeah.
And when he does, and you're just so happy for the character, it's so well acted, especially with the leads.
Yeah, phenomenal.
Like
phenomenal.
How happy Treves is to have him back, because you feel like it's a genuine friendship. You don't feel as if, even though he has the guilt, thinking, "Am I using John?" He's not. You know, part of his heart genuinely goes out to him, and he really wants. He sees him as a friend. He just chats to him for hours on end. You know.
Yeah. So I think with that, his loss, loss. Not only did he lose a patient, or he lost a friend, a real genuine friend. They had a really good friendship. He was there for 6 years, with a small break where he was obviously kidnapped by his old master. But he really struggled with the loss of a friend, because obviously he was at his place of work all the time, and he would go and spend a lot of time with him. And when he was devastated when he got kidnapped. But obviously at the end, because he went on to a marvelous career. Frederick Treves, he served in the Boer War as a surgeon. And then after the Boer War, he came back to England. He lectured at the Royal College of Surgeons, and he went to France in the First World War as a medical advisor for surgeons and things like that. And he also died. When he died, he was 70 years old, and that's quite an age at that time.
Yeah. And then the 1800s.
Yeah, exactly.
Or early 1900s, it would have been, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Phenomenal career he had, but his career probably wouldn't have been the same if it wasn't for John Merrick, because obviously they even referenced that in the film at the the last scene. He says goodbye to him, etc., and he said, "Thank you for being my friend," and he said, "Thank you, you've done." He said, "You've done so much for me," and then Frederick Treves said, "No, you've also done so much for me," and that's where the conflict he had, is that he thought he took advantage of John Merrick, but he hadn't, because he had good intentions all the way through. And introducing him to the society wasn't for profit nor fame.
And unless he realised that, he pulled himself back from that when he looked and went, "Oh, hang on a minute, no, I'm just doing the same as what you done."
But
even then, the other boss done. I mean,
the vast majority of things that we do as humans, there is some self-benefit from it. Even if it's just something to make you feel good. You do something nice for someone, like a homeless person, give them a sandwich. It makes you feel good. Now, is that selfish? Maybe, but at the same time, it doesn't mean it's wrong.
No.
You're right. Yeah.
And I think the amount that he done, I think if John Merrick knew everything that was going through Treves' head, he'd still say, "No, this is where I want to be. This is who I want to have in my life." He's been the best person for me.
Oh, definitely.
He treated him better than anyone else he ever met in his life.
Oh, 100%. 100%. He didn't get flogged. He didn't do nothing, He didn't do nothing horrifying to him. No. But I think the whole film as a whole, just the way it's filmed is fantastic, with the overlays, obviously, at the beginning and partially the way through,
and
in
also
certain
at the
parts.
end when he's dying, and you've got that beautiful piece of music.
Strings.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Oh, it's just.
I love the rave version of it. Remember they done the rave version?
Yeah. Samuel Barber's Adagio.
Yeah, that's it. The strings. Yeah,
that is such a beautiful piece of music.
It's been used many times, but
beautiful.
in that final scene.
Oh yeah.
100%. But because
probably the most memorable time in it, this film.
I forgot they used that, and I watched it. When did I watch it? I watched it this week, because I only watched it going back about 8-9 months ago, because it's for acting quality. And the ironic thing is, I'd seen it a long time ago, and when I was playing Frederick Treves, prior to it, I was told directly by the director not to watch it, because obviously he wanted me to make it my own, which I did. But funny enough, it was quite not dissimilar to Anthony Hopkins, because obviously how many Victorian, you can only play most Victorian gentlemen like Victorian gentlemen. You can't really do too much about that. But yeah, I think just the way it's shot, the score is amazing. The every single scene. I mean, in the beginning, it's almost the tempo of it is a bit. It's very sinister. It's a little. It keeps.
And the makeup as well. Obviously, the makeup, the
prosthetics.
How he looks, as he looks so much like how
he really was.
Joseph Merrick was.
Do you reckon that might be another reason why it was black and white?
Possibly, yeah. That would hide loads of the
because in 1980 it wouldn't have been as advanced as now.
Yeah.
No, then again, 1981 or 82, what was it? America World for London. Look at the effects on that.
Yeah.
I think it's better than today's effects.
But that was the very pinnacle of 1981. So 1980, it does help them having it in black and white. You can hide a lot in there, but we're going back to what you asked about being remade. I don't think it shouldn't be, and I don't see why you could.
Why you'd need to, anyway,
and because you think, well, the film just does it all so perfectly. It's artistic, but it also is so close to the original story, to the true story, but paints it in the perfect sort of thematic way.
And you talk about obviously the makeup and the special effects and stuff like that. It's funny because when you transport it to stage, the majority of stage performances, they have none of that.
No.
And it's just about the actor who plays the elephant, John Merrick, contorting their body. But obviously when Bradley Cooper did it in Broadway, he did it twice a day or 5 to 6 times a week. But to keep your body in that contorted way for that period of time when you're able-bodied is not easy. That's a massive struggle.
It's probably going to damage you.
It would,
as well.
I think
it would have an effect on you. Yeah, definitely. If you crouch, especially in the position he was in, you know, and having the huge weight of that head anyway. Jesus, it's just,
and even just having this sack on my head for the last hour. It's right under here.
But funny you got that on because just look at his eye. Look at his eye, and they capture that when he first turns up at the hospital, and you see him. You've already seen him come. And you see him, he's got a sack on.
The eye does all the acting, doesn't it?
It does, and then when he gets into the office upstairs, and you see him standing there, and obviously Frederick Treves is saying, "Okay," and because obviously he thinks he's got no mental capacity whatsoever. And when he's talking to him like that, you just see John Hurt's eye just through that little hole, and that eye speaks. The acting skill with just one eye. Exactly. The positions and what you can do just by opening your eye or closing your eye. The emotion you can see is like there's at some points there's a lot of fear. It's absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal.
So what did it get, Ben?
Right. On IMDb, this got 8.2 out of 10.
I think that's good. Yeah.
So that's not bad. Rotten Tomatoes, the critics gave it 91%.
Yeah.
The audience give it 93%, so that's also pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
And the budget,
well deserved.
Yeah, definitely. 100%.
And the budget, it cost $5 million to make, and it made $26 million.
That's good. That's a good return.
I think it's probably more than that as well. But
over time, but that would have been the box office. So you think 5 million plus the advertising, so you always double that, so that'd be 10 million. So it made a pretty profit on it, and it was well received by the critics, and it was nominated for awards and stuff like that. So
but it never won any. No Oscars.
And
that
I think it was the same year as Raging Bull, wasn't it? Which, funny enough, was also shot black and white.
Yeah, same year. Yeah, I think that's not fair, is it? Really?
No.
I understand Raging Bull is a fantastic film, and he plays a fantastic part. But when you look at the way
another
John
biopic as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and you look at the way John Hurt played that. The role of the Elephant Man, his speech, because obviously he had real bad problems with like bronchitis and things like that, didn't he? And that's another reason why people think he died, is that he got himself in a position and he started like choking, because in the film they referenced that he hasn't got long to live, and I think it wouldn't be necessarily just his physical ailments. I think it would have been like more an internal medical condition with like bronchitis and stuff like that. Just very, very sad, really. I cried my eyes out again the other day. Every time I've seen it,
the older you get, the easier it is for you to start crying about stuff.
I don't know about
that.
I
think so. It's like I remember I cried the first time I saw it. When I watched it the other day, I cried more than I did the first time I saw it.
Oh, really? Yeah.
And it was literally just I started sort of shaking.
God, I mean, when you see him physically beat him, because he's just drunk.
Well, obviously, you've got to have some comic relief. But
yeah. It's like kicking a puppy, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just not fair.
No, that guy is so. There's a special place in hell for people like that.
Oh, definitely. But the way he portrayed him.
It's such a good performance. Because
phenomenal performance.
How upset he is that he hasn't been giving him back.
I know. He's mine. Yeah. He's my livelihood. Yeah.
And he was very touchy feely with Treves as well.
Yeah.
You know?
And when he returned home from the first day of hospital, we returned home to like a dark and damp corner. He says, "Where have you been?" Like he was almost cheating on him.
Yeah.
That's the way it came across. It's like jealous. Yeah, it was quite mad, really. But yeah, overall, I think
great film.
Phenomenal.
Right, Ben.
Phenomenal.
So you're going to top that?
What?
What film you pick for next week?
We're going to do All About Eve.
Oh,
All About Eve.
Is that my niece Eve?
Yes. No, it's
Can I have a look at those? Let's have a look. Just a few ideas.
I haven't seen all that.
The Assassin. Right. Okay. So what ones have you done already?
Well, I've deleted them as I go on.
I can show you.
Yeah. What ones have you done already?
Let's finish our podcast. Let's stay professional.
Let's stay professional.
Right. So Ben, I'll ask you again.
Right.
So Ben, what's your pick for next week?
My pick for next. My pick for next week is All About Eve.
Oh, wonderful! I haven't seen All About Eve.
Yeah, it's an old black and white film with Betty Davis. I think Marilyn Monroe's in it for a short part. It's a good storyline. Good story.
I'll check that out then.
Yeah.
So thanks for joining us, Matt.
You're very welcome.
Come again.
You're welcome. I will do. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Okay.
100%.
Please like, subscribe, and share.
All right. Thank you very much. See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
How do I look? Do you know what you look like to me with your good bag and your cheap shoes? You look like a rube. Shall we go? And that accent you've tried so desperately to shed, pure West Virginia. What does your father do? Is he a coal miner? Does he stink of the land?